Got it.
I even have to do a got it button.
Is that for live or for
Yep.
recording? I didn't look.
For live.
That's the problem with these got it buttons. I just said I don't even look at them anymore.
Now live on your channel, says the email. All right.
Yay. You know it's working.
Right. The one I always worry about is if I press the button to record to the computer. Like that. All right. You guys ready for a good show?
Ready.
All right.
I'm ready.
All right.
If I can remember where to unmute, I'm ready.
Yeah, you would hope you would know how, considering your network. I always have to get the jokes in.
Yes, you do, Michael. That's just something you do.
Yep. All right. Let's get started. Let me make sure my phone is muted because I always do that. Since I have two iPhones right here, my Android phone is dead, so I don't have to worry about it. And the blind shell does not talk anyway unless, something happens or the battery's dying. It would talk more if I had a SIM card in it, I'm sure. All right. 3, 2, 1. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the iACast. All right, we're back for another episode. This is kind of a pre-episode to what's coming, and that's Apple Christmas, also known as WWDC, Worldwide Developers Conference. So I have a good group of folks with me to talk about our predictions this time. So back on the show, we have Michael Babcock. Hello, Michael.
Hey, Michael, thanks for having me. And for visual people on YouTube, there's a dog behind my right shoulder, and you'll see some VoIP phones behind me, and my headphones are on.
Ah, yes. I don't know that I see the dog, but
I tell people that because he will come in and out of view, and I've just gotten used to that with AMI. It's there's going to be a dog, and he's going to come in and say hi, or he won't.
And that voice you heard was Angie Fisher.
Hello. Good to be here.
Mm-hmm. We also have Lynn Snyder with us. Hi, Lynn.
Hey there, everybody.
And we have Taylor Arndt back with us.
Hey, everyone.
Yes. So we have a great show lined up for you guys today. And we are going to talk about some news, but very little, because we're going to just give you guys so much news on Monday. This show will come out tomorrow after recording, and that's going to be Sunday the 4th. And then we will have a show on the 5th, and that will be coming out either on Monday or Tuesday. So we're going to be busy. I'll be busy. But today's news, to start out with, very interesting stuff. So Reddit may be pulling a Twitter. That seems like it should be a weird pun or joke or something nowadays.
But it's truth.
Yes.
It's so true these days. It's like ridiculously authentic.
Basically what's happening is the creator of Apollo had a call with Reddit. And Apollo is an app. Wow. Cut for just a second. I got a notification from Mona, and their sounds are very loud through headphones.
wow.
Oh my Lord. That was like, boom. Like,
Yeah, I
wow.
haven't enabled my
Wait a
sounds
minute.
yet,
Wait a minute. I did not put two and two together. Do the new sounds work on the Mac app?
Yes, they do.
Okay.
And
That's just what blasted my ear off.
and I was gonna cut this out, but no, we'll just leave it in because turns out that is some news that we need to talk about. Mona for Mastodon on Mac does have, or on iOS and Mac, has sounds now, so that's pretty neat. It's very similar to Ivory, and They even have more sounds. You could configure your own sound. So unlike Ivory, I don't think you could configure the sounds what each one does on Ivory, but on Mona you can.
What I think was really interesting about this is, first of all, full transparency, I was not excited about this because 99% of the time my phone's in vibrate mode, so sounds ain't going to do anything for me. However, now that I know that they're on the Mac, I have a regained interest in it. But what's really cool about this is the developer of Mona actually worked with blind musicians to put the sounds together to be able to have a unique sound. I think that's pretty cool.
I did not know that.
That's yes, nice. They did.
Wow, that's awesome. Honestly,
that was super cool. All the more reason to support Mona.
Yes.
Just saying, guys.
I have both, and I enjoy both apps. I like Ivory for the simplicity, but I enjoy Mona for the complexity and the customization. I use Mona more on the Mac it's almost like TweetDeck for me.
It's really good on the Mac.
Mm-hmm. And I use them both on the phone, really, but
like from a voiceover perspective, it's super accessible. It's just a really nicely done app.
Mm-hmm.
Probably one of the best apps ever these days.
Yeah.
And you can use Windows in the Mac reliably with the app. So if you have a hashtag you want to follow, you can actually keep that hashtag up and then use your window chooser to switch between that hashtag and your main timeline. Or if you want to keep your mentions always up and switch between those with window chooser or command grave accent.
Nice. So, Reddit. So what happened was the creator of Apollo, one of the Reddit apps for iOS, had a call with Reddit, and they said that if they moved to their pricing structure for the API, that would cost him $20 million a year.
Yikes.
And it seems like to just keep that app using Reddit, and it seems like Reddit is going to start charging for API use for third-party applications. Now, I personally don't really use Reddit. I've just never cared for their webpage, and every time I find information that I might be interested in, it always is like, read more, and then like it shows so many other like, you may also be interested in posts. It's like, well, I'm just looking for what I'm trying to find. And so I just don't really use it much anymore, but I know a lot of people do. And I think this will be, I know a lot of people use the app that's in test flight, Dystopia. So I think that this will really be kind of a blow to the accessibility community that use Reddit.
I just recently got into Reddit and I'm kind of bummed about it. I do like it. It's a wealth of information. The Reddit app is kind of like unlabeled button central, but if you can get around that and figure out what they're all for and label them accordingly, or just find a different client, yeah, I'm.
But
I wanted to like it though, but I don't love it. The experience is okay, but it's just it's great for researching opinions or just what other people's experiences are, and getting stuff out there.
I love Dystopia. I was sad to see this come, but I'm also very confused. And maybe, Michael, you can help explain this. If I, as an end user, want to go from paying $4 a month to $20 a month, and we'll go to that drastic extreme. If I want to go from paying $4 a month to $20 a month to use, I almost said Ivory, but to use Apollo with Reddit, because that's what it's going to cost in order for the app developer to do it, would it not make sense to be able to still offer that if the users want to do that? Because I interpreted that he's going to, if this is how this goes down, the author's going to stop developing for Apollo.
Yeah, well, here's the thing is, does he have the user count to do this, right? Would he have the number of users that would be willing to pay to keep the API usage up? And then, you're looking at the $100 a year for the account on Apple and all of those things. And we're not even talking about apps on Android and other places.
So as a developer, do you have to prepay for API calls, or do you just pay as they're used? Because to me, it doesn't make sense. Does he have the user count? Because he's not paying for something if the users aren't using the API calls.
It depends. I think you can typically get cheaper API.
If you prepay for them. Okay. Gotcha. That does make more sense.
Yeah. So it just depends on the method of charging and payment. So it kind of goes back to web hosting. If you pay like DreamHost for a dedicated server for 3 years, you get it a lot cheaper than if you do month to month. So.
And let's see what really happens with this, because I mean, there's still apps out there on Twitter that theoretically should be gone and not working, and they're still working, and there's no explanation to that. Like some automatic posters are still working.
Really? Wow.
Yeah. Yep. I can't mention names because of proprietary things, but I can tell you that there's some automated things that are still working, and I guarantee the people are not paying for those automated tools to be posting.
Well, didn't WordPress and Jetpack even say that they would be shutting theirs down because of that?
Yep.
I don't know if they'd be shutting it down, but they said they'd be charging $10 a month for Jetpack Social over 30 posts, or 30 shares, sorry. So I don't know if they're shutting it down. Maybe they are. Maybe.
Yeah. So it's we're coming to a time where social media is not the free and open place that it was if you don't want to use their official apps, unless you're using Mastodon. I think, though, that it'll still be seen for Blue Sky, because that's still supposed to be, federated, like Mastodon is and ActivityPub. I don't understand why they just don't build Blue Sky into ActivityPub. That just doesn't make a lot of sense to me. But it is what it is. But I'm just disappointed to see Reddit kind of go the same way as Twitter in doing this.
Now, would the cited community have objections? Because Reddit, that's a pretty vocal customer base there,
Well, this affects us more because the Reddit app is, and correct me if I'm wrong, folks, I haven't really used it, but the Reddit app does have its accessibility issues.
Exactly. Yeah.
And I think Apollo.
Yeah, it does. It's like unlabeled buttons, and it's just kind of janky.
It is.
I think Apollo works better.
At least on iOS.
Yeah. But I think Dystopia was the best, and Apollo was really, kind of the next step up.
Yep.
So, like, most sighted people really won't notice because of the, they'll just use their Reddit app. They don't need anything else.
Because I know, like, even sighted folks liked using Twitter clients, different ones, right? A lot of people didn't use the main Twitter app. They liked their certain clients for whatever reasons.
It's limited.
Yeah, right. So they liked that flexibility of being able to. That's what's really sad. You really lose that flexibility. You lose some of the creative things that people do.
The interesting thing is that the Twitter app is not created equally. So Twitter for Mac is not nearly as feature rich as the one on the iPhone.
I always felt like that was kind of an afterthought. Like, well, we have to make a Mac client, so here you go. And it never really got any better over time on the Mac. It's like, here's your Twitter client. Shut up and go away.
Well, I think here's the thing.
That should be the title.
Here, the thing is that on Windows and Android, it's still not even better. Like,
no,
where there would be more users,
it's a mess.
It's just the iOS client for Twitter that has all the features.
That's true.
And that's not even the iPad version. It's just for iPhone.
And I still use Twitter. I have to. It's just, I have to use it because unfortunately the accountants have not got the memo to move to Mastodon. But of course, if I didn't have to use the janky iOS app, I wouldn't, because it's pretty terrible. I mean, it's workable, but you don't want to spend a lot of time.
It's a mess. It's like really cluttered and just busy.
Well, it is.
Very busy app.
And I don't even think the website may have some of the same features, but like,
oh God,
don't get me started.
But for Twitter Blue, like, all the features that you get on the iOS app are not there on other platforms. So it's interesting that Reddit is going the same direction. So I've wanted to share that with everybody. But yeah. Some late developing news, though, that's pretty exciting is Mac users may get to play better Windows games. And that's with crossover 23 later this year. They're talking about DirectX 12 support coming to Mac gaming, which is very exciting. And there's talk that there might be a big push for that at WWDC. So gaming, I think, might be a very big push for Apple this year. And we'll talk about that more later on in our predictions section. But the what are y'all's thoughts on this? Y'all, I mean, I know that it's more of a visual aspect here, but any thoughts?
I think
It's
any
more of a
instance of opening.
Oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. Okay. It's more of a visual thing, but, those graphics technologies could also help with like screen readers and things probably, right? Because if you have better graphics cards and things, that could maybe help crossover and things be a good way to run screen readers. I don't know. That's just something I've been thinking about because we always think about, oh, we need good graphics cards for the blind. Why? Because of the screen readers, right? The screen readers do better with better graphics.
I actually found that to be the case. A lot of people just used stock onboard, Intel stuff. But when I, and this is like back, years ago, but when I used to use NVIDIA cards, I found that JAWS was more responsive or better, like using the JAWS cursor. Helped, but yeah. But I feel like anything that opens the Mac up or gives us, inclusivity is definitely a huge thing, and that's important. So yeah, I'll not be able to play them, but I'll enjoy it, hearing about it from Michael. That's for sure.
Well, and that's the thing. You may not be able to use a screen reader with crossover, but it does open the doors for, if you get more people interested in the Mac, if you could get more people to convert to the Mac hardware, then you get more people interested to say, hey, we need to do more with this, right? So the more opportunities we have to get the world interested in the Mac is just that one more step towards getting better developers to pay attention. And, one thing that I find very interesting that I want to find out is, will the MacBook Air, like the M2, not the Pro or Max, but will those be able to run DirectX 12 games?
That would be
that'll be interesting. Yeah, that would be awesome. I'm hoping that everybody will be able to, play equally in this new sandbox, as it were, and there's not going to be any compatibility issues, because that would just, really big news, really huge thing, right? So hopefully that doesn't suck for certain people who don't have the latest and greatest.
Well, I mean, that's how it is stuff. That's how it is on Windows. Like, if you want to play the good games, you have to have the NVIDIA card.
You have to, right?
I mean, some of the built-in graphics really do work, but not all the time.
Nope. Right.
So the last news topic I want to talk about this time is something that's very close to me. And full disclosure, we're talking about Way Around, and disclosure here, I am on the Way Around development team. But I feel like not many podcasts have really just sat down and talked about Way Around, and I wanted to do that for a few minutes. So Way Around 4.3 has been released. We've been working on that for the last couple of months, and it has some neat features and bug fixes for Android and features for iOS, like the if you're at a public location, you can share a way tag that you find with yourself or others, so you can save it and keep track of that. And there's some other neat features like new languages. There's Portuguese, and we also have support for Spanish and French and, of course, English. But, we've really never talked about Way Around much, and I think that it's an discussed topic in the AT space. And I want to just really, Michael, I know you use Way Around. Taylor, you use Way Around. And I developed for it. And Lynn, and Angie, do you guys use Way Around?
No, but I have heard of it. But you're right; it doesn't get a lot of press. It doesn't get a lot of exposure in the accessibility podcasting community, which is really a shame because it's definitely a great, it's another tool in the toolbox that could really help, a lot of us.
I haven't used it either, but this is very intriguing.
Mm-hmm.
So WayAround, if people are not aware, WayAround is a tool for iPhone and Android that lets you label items around your house or office. And in fact, we call it kind of our home and office product for individuals to go out and pretty much put NFC, near field communications tags on anything. And they sell them at wayaround.com in stickers, two types of stickers. There's sewable buttons that you can, sew onto clothing and pretty much anything. There is oval hole buttons that you could use safety pins with, or, just put with whatever you want, rubber bands, all kinds of things. There is also clips that you could clip onto things, and very useful there. And then there's magnets. Like I even have a way tag that's a magnet on my refrigerator, which, it would be funny if the refrigerator was a Maytag, because Maytag, So I really,
funny.
Yes, I had to make that pun. But I really think, we have way tags on our cabinet. So like one use I have for it is I have what I have in that cabinet on that tag. So I have my personal account and I could just scan and say, okay, this is where regular dishes and bowls are. If I just don't use a certain cabinet for a long period of time, I have an inventory of that cabinet in my kitchen. And, you could do that with the stickers and just put them on wherever you want on your cabinets. And then you could do like stuff in your pantry, label each shelf, right? So everything goes where it's supposed to go. You can label medications, like put it on the medication lid, things like that.
So is it, I'm thinking of the Pen Friend. Is that like sort of?
Oh yes, it's very similar to the Pen Friend.
Uh-huh.
The difference is that you don't record your labels. We always tell people, if you can send a text message, you can label a way tag.
Okay. Yeah, I would actually prefer to type it in or
same. I'd rather do that.
Dictate it into Siri than to have my voice.
Mm-hmm.
Apple Jacks, Captain Crunch. Like, yeah, people really want to hear me, talking to myself. So.
I don't want to hear me. So there you go. That's convenient right there.
Well, and say you get like those big bins that you just pour your cereal into, then you can reuse the stickers. You don't have to get new tags each time.
So I use them to put on Tupperware lids for leftovers, and what
awesome.
I do is I put what is in there, so I don't have to open it and smell it, and then I put the date that I put that in there. And we do not have a dishwasher, so I'm not saying that the Way stickers are dishwasher safe, but I am saying that the Way stickers that I've used on the Tupperware container since I think February is when we started doing it are still stuck to the lids after I wash them, and I do wash my lids, so.
That is freaking impressive. Wow.
So
that's pretty incredible stuff right there.
And it's all NFC. So it's a little radio antenna that, you get your phone close to it and it just scans and it does a, really good job. So there's so many ways of using WayAround. And then, if you've been to any of the blindness conventions lately, like NFB and some of the different ACB conferences, we've had WayAround at those, and it's just a great way to navigate because we put up these signs that are NFC signs, and you just put if you feel it with your hand to know that you're at this location, you can use, your phone to figure out where you are, what's around you, and how to get from point A to point B. It's not a navigation tool. It won't help you navigate to that next place, but it will tell you instructions on how you can do that. So it lets you be independent while giving you the information that you need. And that's what's really wonderful about it. And
I wonder if there are just, a lot of different systems out there. It would be nice if someone could do a podcast sort of comparing the different systems, the pros and cons of each, and sort of showcasing what's available that people might not be aware,
Well, we may do that here. So
I haven't heard it myself, but I have heard from some customers that Hadley actually did a podcast reviewing the Pin Friend and the Way Around, and I think another device too. So it might be worth looking at Hadley's podcast too.
okay.
Okay.
Yeah. So that would be very good to listen to. And, I don't just say all this, and we didn't bring this up because I work for Way Around at all.
Right.
But I feel like it's just something that we don't really talk about as a community much. And I wanted that to get out there. Like, why is Way Around so important in the AT space? And it's because it really does help out folks.
Yeah, and what kind of marketing budget does it have? Because I think so many times in the tech community, in the blindness field, especially, if you have a lot of marketing behind something, it tends to get more attention.
Mm-hmm.
So
well, and that's really where any product you talk about, like whether you put an app in the app store, if you put you go to sell something at a market, it's just is it word of mouth and all those things,
right.
and Way Around does have marketing and those kind of things, but a lot of it has been word of mouth over the years. Just all of our users just say this is a great product. And, I've heard Jonathan Mosley on his podcast just kind of say he uses Way Around, and, that's a very big, Jonathan's very well known in the industry, so it's very helpful. Mm-hmm. And, it's just that, oh yeah, I use Way Around. What's Way Around? I need to go look into that. Mm-hmm. Word of mouth is a very good marketing tool. Of course, like I said, Way Around has quite a few marketing channels. I think when we look at something like Ira and others who have paid a lot into their marketing, I don't know if it's apples to apples, but it's one of those things that every company is improving, scaling, and doing new things. And I think Way Around is doing that. And I'm very happy to be a part of it, but we'll talk about new versions and keep the conversation going. But I think that Way Around is such a interesting tool because people only can. Way Around's limit is only based on people's imaginations. So if you can imagine using it for something, just even think about putting it on an inaccessible greeting card, putting a sticker, and then putting all the information or something special on that sticker. There are so many different things that are possible with this app and with these tags. So if you haven't, I would check it out.
Spread the word.
#tag everything. So we're going to move on from that to what everybody's been waiting for, and that's to talk about the big announcement coming Monday. We've had Google I/O, we've had Microsoft Build, and we've had all of these things come by, right? And they were great. I mean, we've got the Pixel tablet, which, not a big fan of. We got Windows Copilot. We got all the Microsoft things, which are kind of interesting, right? Mm-hmm. But Apple is kind of where everybody is just, what are they going to do? What are they going to do? What are they going to do? And everybody is anxious. Interestingly, because it is so forecasted that Apple's going to release a VR glasses hardware device thing this year, Facebook just quietly announced the Meta Quest 3 headset. Funny as it is, the Quest Pro still has better optics. And this is newer. So I think Meta is struggling and they don't want to get left behind. So let's talk about Apple. WWDC. It's going to happen for the next 5 days starting Monday. And I guess I would like to go through and see starting with Michael, what are you hoping for? Like, what would make you happy?
I am hoping that the dog doesn't bark, so I'm warning you, but he probably will. But I am hoping, though, that everyone is wrong and they're not releasing the glasses, and Reality OS is a new version of Siri.
Oh.
That's what I'm hoping. Probably won't happen, but that would be awesome. And I left Michael speechless.
I was muted for just a second, but
No.
the issue though is that we do know it's confirmed. We've seen screenshots that show XROS.
Okay. Well, then my hopes are dashed. Come on, do something with Siri. Though I will pay you $5 a month if you can actually make Siri be productive.
I know Siri has so much potential that has not been tapped, and it's just
shortcuts help with that, and I hope we get to see some expanded capabilities within the operating system with shortcuts come in this next year. And I don't think we'll see it everywhere, but I'd like to see some sort of side loading capabilities as well.
Yep, that's rumored. But I think they said that side loading is going to start in Europe.
That's what's being said, but we don't know. The rumor websites say all these things, but we just don't know.
I want side loading capabilities. I want voiceover bugs to be fixed. That crashy thing where voiceover goes silent. This happened to me just now. I want that to be fixed.
Yeah, there's
the
also
Braille
a Braille
issues.
bug that I hope will be fixed. And so
Apple has had intermittent Braille bugs since the days of yore. So I really wish they would fix it. Just fix it. I just want bug fixes.
Right. You know what?
And I want Siri to be smarter.
True. Like if
harness all the AI goodness and fix Siri.
Make it better. About all the new stuff that is coming out and it's exciting and everything, but sometimes as a user, you stop and say, "Gosh, I just wish they would fix things that are broken and have been broken for a while, and let's just get these things fixed."
I still want.
And then I'll get out my credit card and buy something new.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be honest. If they come out with that headset, I don't care if it's $3,000.
It's going to be in Michael's hot little hands.
Yes, if it's
mine too, y'all. So
if it's $3,000, I will buy it.
Me too. I will buy it the first day it is available.
We had this question, and even on I think the iACast hadn't even started at this point, but a lot of blind people asked, would the Apple Watch be accessible?
Of course, it would be. I never had any doubts.
I did, because I didn't know how they would make a watch accessible. I mean, I knew we had talking clocks and talking watches.
Well, we had the Siri remote for the Apple TV, and I just figured it would be. Or remember when they had the stripped down version of VoiceOver on the Shuffle, or not the Shuffle, but the iPod Nano, or the iPod Nanos back in the day. So I figured they'd figure out a way to make it happen.
That's true,
and that's a small space, a small screen. Mm-hmm. So I just thought, they'll do it.
Yeah. So. That's very interesting. I didn't even think about that. But
WatchOS 10 is coming.
Yes, WatchOS 10 is coming, and it's widgets. Supposed to. Yeah, we're supposed to get widgets and all these things, which is kind of like how it was originally.
Mm-hmm. I'm kind of curious about that.
Mm-hmm. I'm very curious what we're going to get, and I think that this year will also be a big year for the iPad.
I hope it's time.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the iPad did not get the new lock screen goodness that the iPhone got last year.
Nope.
And that happens. Like there was a year that the iPhone got a big change and the iPad didn't get it till I think it was widgets.
Mm-hmm. It was a year later.
Mm-hmm, and I think that's going to happen on iPad this year.
Yep.
And
how do you guys find configuring your lock screens as a totally blind user?
I don't do it.
Is it still? I
did it,
don't do it and
either.
I can't tell you how I did it. It's not intuitive at all, but I managed to do it. And I just wish it was better. I'm hoping that improves too.
Customized lock screens to me though makes a lot more sense on the iPad, because then that could be a product that businesses use and provide information right there on the lock screen.
Right
And
there, right,
Businesses are already using iPads in their workfoows too. So
Well, the original iPad had a
quick
picture
information right there without having to unlock it and go find the app. And
The iPad had
That's
a
true.
neat feature, which was a picture frame whenever it first came out, and they removed that, and I was very disappointed that they did. But I think if they were
it's
to
the Pixel tablet.
Pixel put that back in, and that's one feature I actually do like on the Pixel tablet. But
It can be a photo frame.
So I'm really hoping the iPads get some love this year, and then I think the Mac is going to get a lot of attention this year. Something tells me we're going to see a lot of attention this year because of rumors about gaming and things like that. They've had big game developers spotted at Apple campus, and while the person was there, the Steve Jobs Theater was off limits, so it looks like they've been doing filming. So I'm really hoping that we're going to see some gaming news. I think the Mac will be...
The Mac would be an awesome gaming machine if they just do it.
Well, and it's getting the third-party developers to come to the Mac.
Right.
It's going to be and I think it'll be very interesting to see how Apple makes the Mac work if they do have a new headset, right?
Yep.
How will they work? Because I think that we're going to see a combination of virtual reality and augmented reality with this headset. I think it will do both.
we will see.
I mean,
Curious. Yep.
Apple has Apple Arcade. I mean, it's a huge library, and they've gotten some pretty big titles in there. And so I'm kind of curious. There was just an announcement, too, that No Man's Sky just came to the Mac, which is a AAA video game. So I'm kind of wondering, I thought there was one more that just came to the Mac as well, and I don't remember which one. But with the crossover 23 news and all of these things, the Mac is going to become a bit more of a platform. And it kind of comes back to what I've been talking about for a while, that it seems like a lot more activity is happening on the Mac. And Michael, you can chime in on this one because I'm curious your thoughts. I've been saying for a while, it feels like more native apps are being developed for Mac, like Mac GPT, Vivid for changing the light level, Mac Whisper. We have
Centered Head.
Centered Head. But isn't there an equivalent program on Windows?
There's an equivalent, but it's not it's not a cross-platform app. It's not the same developer. But yeah, like ICO, AIKO is another one.
That was going to be my pick for today.
Well, it still can be.
Yeah, still can be. Like SoundSource, Audio Hijack. There's always been those tools that have been just for the Mac for sure too.
Well, Drafts is also on the Mac.
Drafts,
which is awesome because I use Drafts all the time, and seamless. The way it works together with the phone is like amazing.
Yeah.
There's just hardly any good apps on Windows anymore. Like
What
it's
I
just
will
all
say-
web.
What I will say has made a huge difference, and I just seen this app because I've been playing with it lately. Need to play with it a lot more. And I, on a whim, said, can I do this? And I went and downloaded the Revision Fitness app on the App Store onto the Mac. I also downloaded, what's the name of this called? Prologue, which is a audiobooks app that you connect to your Plex server. So the fact that is I can go, and not every app, but a lot of these apps, I can just go to the App Store and be like, hey, let's download this to the Mac and use it. Overcast, Castro, I have both of those on the Mac too.
Accessible, very accessible.
And not to mention the Authentic Audible app is now,
Oh, yeah, Test Flight. I have Test Flight on the Mac, so I can demo or beta test apps. And Envision AI is on the Mac now.
Oh, really?
I didn't know that.
No, it's on the iPhone, but it's downloadable on the Mac. Like,
Catalyst.
and you can there's not a native app, but it is downloadable
Seriously?
on the Mac. And, and you can send images into Envision AI on the Mac.
Well, I'm gonna have to try this. No way, because I've got a 400-page
Yeah, I've
book
had
in
it on
the
my
other
Mac
room,
for
so I
like
could try
6
it.
months now. Like, I just assumed everyone knew that.
No,
No.
nobody
No.
did, apparently.
I did.
Well,
Yeah, it works
tell
nice.
us.
It's actually better. I like scanning mail that way because it's just a lot more
I
convenient.
did not know this.
To just have,
Me
you know what I mean, Michael?
either.
Like it's than messing with your phone and all that stuff. It's just easier on the Mac.
It is
And
the
so-
iPhone version, but it is the iPhone version, which is okay. I mean, as long as it works.
That's fine
Right.
as long as it works.
And
Well,
so
I've
those
got a
on
lot of
video who
material,
don't know,
so.
I'm using an iPhone 12 right now in a stand as my camera using Camo, C-A-M-O. And right now it's in a ring light stand, so I can just slide my finger across the bottom to adjust the light on my camera if I need to. But you have these other camera holders that you can actually manipulate where the phone is being held. So right there, you can go on Amazon, get a $20 or less little selfie stick that you can adjust the end, and there's your scanner. Like you just hold your phone above it and
That's
then
right.
use something like Envision to scan your mail quickly.
That's it.
Should have told me this about a week or two ago.
You
Get
didn't
like a
ask.
monopod, like a short monopod, and you're good to go.
Right.
Right.
The recent update to AI, Envision AI or Seeing AI, I should say, is I just think it really makes the app a lot better. Like I noticed it's picking up barcodes better.
It's much faster, much more accurate.
Yeah, it really is. I remember just
Because there was a
opening
point when
it
it was pretty raunchy. It was just slow and clunky.
And I opened it up and it was
bad.
like it started reading my box that I was holding. Like I didn't have to mess with things, and so that I mean, I was really impressed. So
I do wish Seeing AI was available on the Mac. It is not.
Me too.
I just
checked.
It's not on the Mac.
It's
No.
not. No, it's not.
Gosh dang it! I was going to ask that question.
Just Envision.
And you broke my dreams,
sorry,
Michael.
I was getting confused. You guys were talking about Envision.
Yeah, you broke. Thanks, guys. You guys made me. Thanks.
Well, but I think Envision in ways does some things better, you know?
Yeah.
And I think Envision actually uses, I could be wrong, I think it uses a lot of the Azure services that Seeing AI uses, so very comparable product. So now that would be interesting if you could configure the glasses with the Mac app. That would be cool.
Yeah, I'm really interested to see what kinds of applications that blind folks will be able to use with this new headset. Like, part of me is like, well, this is not something I need to be interested in because I'm totally blind, but it does have applications.
What I like to see is using it with GPS stuff.
And like just all sorts of scanning and
Well, if you think about it, the new headset will probably have, if they do this, LiDAR, so it'll work with door detection. It'll do door detection. It will do people detection.
I will be very happy about that.
It would just be nice to be able to do that all hands free and not have to worry about where you have your phone position.
Exactly.
Carrying your phone,
agree.
having your phone out, because I still can't find a viable chest mount that I like for my phone. So that I can, because, we always have one of our hands tied up either with a guide dog or a chain.
Yep.
So that's a big deal.
Taylor
Having glasses that just do that would be awesome.
Taylor, you found one that you like, right?
Yeah, well, thanks to the podcast that you guys did with Debbie Hazelton. It was the one from Guidelines and Gadgets.
Can you send me a link?
Sure. I think I can.
Yeah, we can find it and we'll send it to you.
Cool.
It's the lanyard.
From Guidelines and Gadgets, yep.
Yep. And it works pretty well. I was able to use it in the mall when I was doing some test stuff for one of my contracts.
Awesome.
So, and tap to speak, that's going to be great on this headset and I think that's why they are adding some of those features, is because they know it will work on that headset.
So with tap to speak, do you actually have to touch this thing? Because if you're dealing with a touch screen interface, you're going to activate all kinds of stuff if your finger brushes it or even it comes into contact. But I'll be curious to see how it works. I can't wait to play with it.
Well, the tap to speak, you tap like a microwave or put your finger near a microwave, and it will make a determination based on depth and LiDAR, like what you're pointing at. So
okay. So it is a point thing then. You don't have to actually touch it. Okay.
Right.
Because a lot of newer appliances are touch screen. They aren't like the buttons, the capacitive buttons. They're actually touch screens, so that could be like, oh, I just activated 10 things trying to Yeah.
It would be nice also if it would work with in conjunction with Ira somehow. So because so many times when you're working with Ira, I mean, I don't have the money to use Ira right now, but except for
who
the
does? No, I'm kidding.
5 minutes, but sometimes I
like
think
Ira.
if you have a camera that you're holding, it can be hard because your hand shakes. I mean, everyone's hand shakes a little bit. I forget what they call that, but there's a photographic name for that in photography, but
it's called you're screwing up the shot. Hold still.
Yeah, it's really hard, I think, sometimes to hold the camera to steady it in your hands. Whereas the headset would be awesome because it's on your head. You're not.
It's pointing exactly at where you want to.
Right,
where you want to be.
Exactly.
It's you could just line up that way. That would be super cool.
Yeah, and if they put good, and Apple will put good sound in those headset. So.
Oh my God, that was going to be so cool.
So
yeah, can you imagine walking through a mall, and you got your stereo field, right? And you've got this door is on your right, walking through the mall, and it's announcing stuff. That would be freaking awesome.
So it does have
that
sound
would make me
sound as well.
That
right?
would
it should.
Yep.
Other headsets have sound.
That would be freaking awesome.
I was thinking that could be awesome for VR gaming for the
airport
blind.
travel.
Yeah.
Somehow reading signs.
Envision this game that I would love for a developer to make because I hate flying insects like bees and flies and stuff. But wouldn't it be cool if you had a virtual reality game where you're
fly swatter?
Yes. Flying fly swatter. I love it.
There's a lot of different things that could come out with this, and
the possibilities are endless.
Yeah. And that's what's really exciting. And
airport travel.
We're gonna know we're gonna know so much more on Monday.
Because some of our airports are huge. I mean, the one over here is ginormous. You've been to the Vegas airport before, yeah?
Yeah, well, yeah.
It's huge.
Yep.
Huge.
It is.
But I'm
convoluted, confusing, huge.
I'm really excited to figure out what we're going to get. And I'm really, just imagine also, here's another one. We did a few of these on mute, but how will this transform photography for the blind folks?
Yes. Yeah. I thought about that too, because that's Michael, you and I have talked about that quite a bit. My love of photography and videography. So yeah. That appeals to me hugely.
Now, could you imagine too if it has a port where you could plug in the Ambio headset so you can record
in 360 audio? 360 audio.
That would be great.
Even if the USB-C port, I could still use my adapter and use. I can do that.
Right.
Yes. So there's so many possibilities with this headset that for low vision and no vision folks to just really get excited about. I mean, that's leaving alone the gaming possibilities for modern games for people that who have sight or low vision. I'm very excited about the possibilities of this, and I know that it keeps. At first, I was very hesitant, okay, I don't know that Apple needs to do a headset yet. But if Apple's ready to do a headset, and all indications they're going to do it well, or at least better than the others.
Because it seems to have had a little bit of a rocky start from what I've read.
Well, any headset right now has a rocky start because the technology to make it to where, to Apple standards, is just not going to be there. But let's look back at the original Apple Watch. I mean,
oh my God,
that thing was rough.
Yes, it was. But we got it. Those of us who were, zero Apple Watch Zero adopters, we thought we were just all that. We're like, oh yeah, I can track all my stuff now. Screw you, Fitbit. I can see my fitness stats, and
that was me. Yeah,
that was me too.
And then I ran my Apple Watch into a few walls, and then the screen fell off on my head. So that
was hilarious.
That really did happen. I was at a hotel.
Really happen, Michael?
Orlando. That happened the night before I met you.
My God!
I was at a hotel.
Or was it then?
No, it was I was in Corpus Christi. I was in Corpus Christi at a conference, and I was laying down on the bed. I had just gotten to the hotel. And I was doing laundry and scrambling, getting stuff ready the night before, and I ran into a wall. And I could just tell that something didn't feel right on the watch. And so I got into the hotel and I was laying down looking at the watch, had it upside down, and all of a sudden the screen just landed on my head.
Wow.
Like right on my forehead. So we've come a long way. The wires were still attached and everything. I just put the screen back on. It was fine until it fell off again.
So here's the WWDC and screens that don't fall off.
Yes. But unfortunately, the talk is that we will not see this thing until the fall, or I would even guess maybe early spring.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, dang it. That's
But
I'm going to be at the Apple Store trying it out when it lands, so I can tell you that.
But I can tell you what they may do, and we may be in a unique position here, is, and if we can make this happen, we will try. Apple has done developer transition kits like for M1.
Holy crap.
So you could apply and put in a reason why you would like to have one. Then they charge you money to lease these things.
Since we're all on your developer team, Michael, can we all come to your house for a week and have Camp Michael headset time?
Camp Michael and Taylor.
Camp Michael and Taylor. Yes.
And Camp Aftershocks just falling off my head.
Camp Aftershocks. Uh-oh.
Oh, they just fell off my head. Yeah, no, this is just whatever.
So it's very interesting.
Your head's just too small.
Yeah.
Yep.
See, I can't wear Aftershocks. They don't fit me. Like my head is genuinely too big because they can't be resized. I cannot wear Aftershocks.
They aren't adjustable at all. They are not. I have this weird thing with hair, and they slide out. Everything that I put on, like the back of my head, just slides right out because my hair is really silky.
I wasn't planning on wearing these for the podcast, but my AirPods Max need to go get into the Apple Store again. So.
Yeah, her AirPods Max. We'll talk about that off the podcast, but
okay.
It was not good.
Oh my goodness.
So anyway, the headset is going to be very interesting, and I think that everything that Apple comes out this year is going to be based on that headset. And even some of the hints they've given to developers say code new worlds. What do you think that means? I mean, it just says headset,
Gaming and new
VR.
New horizons.
Mm-hmm.
VR, right.
Which is funny because
boldly go where no other headset's gone before.
Right. The funny thing is, I think Meta does have an app called Horizon. So I think that's kind of funny that you use that term specifically. So I think that's going to do it for this episode. Do you guys have any final thoughts before we wrap up? Is there anything that I missed that you would? I mean, WatchOS.
Oh yes,
iPad. And
have you heard the thing about Siri? Apparently, our little wake word's getting cut down to just Siri. That's another rumor. They're taking out the hey.
Oh my god!
I think that's a bad idea.
That's a big mistake.
That's a very bad idea.
That is a terrible. There are
going to be so many false triggers. Oh, I don't want to think about it.
I completely agree with that.
Yep.
But again, like Michael said, I think if we see a lot of changes for shortcuts and just really improving Siri, but I almost think what needs to happen. Okay, this might spark a whole nother discussion, so we'll see what happens. I almost think that we need to keep.
You just thought it was over, guys.
Yeah, right.
False ending.
I think that shortcuts need to stay. I love shortcuts, but
Me too.
I think that Siri needs to go.
I agree.
Because Microsoft made the decision to remove Cortana from Windows.
Yeah.
Let me pick what assistant I have on my phone.
That would be great. But if Apple wants to have an assistant, they need to genuinely do something
Redo
new.
it.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Bring Siri, just take it out completely, overhaul it, redo it.
Well, it needs
make a whole new thing.
As far as I'm concerned, it really needs the addition of AI. It really needs.
Yes, it does.
Mm-hmm. And just call it something else. Not Siri. Just,
Okay, so I always had a problem with Siri's. Like, I guess the best way I can describe it is like her cute little vernacular things that it does, or he or she, whatever voice you have. And I get so tired of it. I'm like, just answer my question. Do what I want you to do. Stop trying to be cute and funny. You're not. Okay, it's just tacky. Stop it.
Yeah, and in the past, I've
be productive.
Being able to answer, ask a question and get a direct answer. Now I'm getting a bunch of links.
Working on it. Oh yeah.
And it's ridiculous.
Still on it. Yep.
I mean, that's not acceptable anymore. Search cannot be that way now. It's just.
Or even if you try to search for something in the App Store, a lot of times it just comes up with a web search.
Yep.
It says searching the web for whatever.
I found this on the web. Have a look.
Yep.
Read it.
Yep.
It's really.
Angie, the way that you said that reminded me of the Big Bang Theory episode where they make fun of Siri.
I haven't seen that one. Oh my gosh, this is so funny. I found this on the web. Here, have a look.
It had an
Read
episode.
it, you piece of.
It had an episode where Raj goes is
Stop being lazy.
and he goes to Apple's campus, and it's actually all these people reading out all that.
Oh,
I think I've seen that one. Haven't
I think
That's
you have
hilarious.
too. Yeah,
That's awesome. I was just going to say that.
Are you excited about the headset, Larry?
So what I think is the most frustrating about Siri myself, because I sent Demasi one of my HomePod minis because I was just getting frustrated with whenever you ask Siri a question on the HomePod, it would say, "I can answer this for you on your phone if you ask me again." Why do I have to ask you again?
I hate that. I hate that. Yeah, I agree with you.
I think it's because it wants to show you information like on a screen.
But why do I have to ask you again?
Yeah, but there's no
Alexa and Google can push notifications to my lock screen to give me the information. Sorry, I'm passionate about that.
No,
I
agree with you. You're absolutely right.
There's so much
and how
that could be done with it, and it's just sort of languishing there.
Siri was the AI or the digital assistant before anybody else.
Exactly.
That's the sad part.
It was.
By
it hasn't been improved since.
a lot of time. No, it hasn't.
It's actually
It
just
hasn't
gone
gotten
degraded.
any better since it came out of beta.
Exactly. It's just
it still feels like
actually
a beta,
going down.
A beta project. Right. Yeah.
It was released October of 2011. Wow,
yeah.
I'd even argue
with the 4S. Or as everyone used to say when they dictate, the 4S.
And the interesting thing is the team that made Siri went on to Samsung and made Bixby. Now, interestingly, everybody hated Bixby, but
I liked it.
I actually did too.
And
I actually
you could do stuff with it that you couldn't do with Google Assistant. You could get to integrated more deeply into the Samsung phones, and it could do more.
I liked the gamification of Bixby because you'd get experience points and all those, and you could use that in the Samsung store.
Oh my goodness, that's true. That's true.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I think what they did with it was pretty neat. So
that was cool.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. All right. Well, we need to wrap this thing up, but as we typically do, we have picks. I have several to pick from. On some days I have a hard time finding something, but to start us off, Lynn, do you have a pick this week, and where can people find you online?
I do. I have a pick, and my pick is called iACO, A-I-K-O. And basically it is, if you know what Mac Whisper is, it is sort of the phone equivalent of Mac Whisper. You should know, first of all, that this is a 2 gigabyte download, so you do need to make sure that you have enough space on your phone. Also, it is pretty processor intensive, so your phone's going to get nice and toasty warm. But
hand warmer.
Exactly. But what it does is it does on the phone transcription of audio. So, for example, if you have a video on your phone, a podcast, a class lecture, you can have iACO actually transcribe that for you, and you can export it as text, or there's several different things you can different. It has tons of languages that it supports. Again, it favors quality over speed, so it's going to take time. You're just going to have to, my advice is sort of start it and go take a shower, right? If you're going to do something that's a long piece of audio. So it's basically transcribing your audio. It does a beautiful job. It's free, but again, it's you need a good quality phone. You need a newer phone, and you need space on your phone. But if you have those things, I would recommend you try it. It's slow, but it's awesome, and for free, you have nothing to lose, right? So there you go, ICO.
And where can people find you online?
I am at Cane Prince, CANEPRINTS @hotmail.com.
And, I want to mention one thing with ICO. It's a very neat app. The one complaint that I have is that you cannot edit text in place. So you get your transcript, you have to do what you want with it and send it out somewhere.
That's right. Yes.
And the funny thing is, I've seen how it transcribes text, and I'm like, I've done that with my desktop app that I built with Python. So I do. Eventually, one of the things I would love to build my own Whisper app. I think that would be fun.
Yeah,
that would be cool.
Yeah. So I've built one for Windows and Mac that I actually built before Mac Whisper came out, and it's on GitHub.
An idea for you later, Michael. We'll talk about it.
Okay.
Speaking of developing things.
Yeah, and Whisper is a very neat framework for
sure
transcription.
Is. Wow. And it's free. I mean, it's open.
It's open source.
Open source. So I mean, really, I would say you might be better off using your Mac to do this kind of work. But if you just want to, translate some, do something on the fly, and you have your phone right there, and you say, I really want to get a text transcript of this. It's a great option.
And believe it or not, this will work in Windows too, but it will be slower than it is on Mac because the Mac has the higher quality processors and things for this kind of work, whereas Windows, there are ways to make NVIDIA cards work with Whisper to be just as fast as the Mac, but it is a little interesting. So those are things to keep in mind with Whisper. So, Michael, how about you? What's your pick, and where can people find you online?
Perfect, Michael. So my pick today is going to be something you can't buy, and I love to share that with people. At least you can't buy it at the price that it should be sold at. Amazon, there's people selling it for $100 more than what you can buy it at the company for sale, and that is going to be the Ubiquiti Dream Router. Now, if you're not familiar with this is a Ubiquiti access point, and it also has the Unify OS installed on it as well. So it'll work as your Unify controller, as well as it will work as an access point if you need wireless. The Ubiquiti Unify router also has 4 Ethernet ports on it, 2 of which are PoE. And if you don't know what PoE is, then you should research it, because I didn't, and I thought that it was boring. And now it's like everything needs to have PoE because that's power over the Ethernet cable. And then you can expand it or not if you want to. And so if you're interested in more information about why I have 500 feet of Ethernet cable ran throughout my house, listen to the latest episode of Technically Working, and you can find me online. I am at Payone. Let's try that again. I am on Mastodon, Payone at unmute.community.
Yes, PoE is really cool stuff. We have Google Fiber here, and I love it. We have the Eero routers, and I love Eero, and they work really well with the Google Fiber, and routers are. People get very opinionated over routers these days. Have y'all noticed?
I love Eero too. I use Eero as well. Yes, I do.
Like some people are like, don't buy Eero, don't buy this, don't buy that. It's like,
it's not configurable. It's trash. Yeah.
You use what's best for you. Now, we did not have good luck with the Google Nest Wi-Fi, but yeah. So yeah, interesting stuff. And Angie, do you want to go ahead and if you have a pick, and where can people find you online?
I don't have a pick. I'm sorry. I suck.
Well, for me. You technically do. You've been reading a certain book.
I know, but that was Jeff's pick for last week.
I thought you picked the TV show.
Oh, that's right. Well, do you want to do the book?
If you want to pick the book, that's totally cool.
Go ahead. You can have it.
No. I'm picking something else, so you can pick the book.
Okay.
If you want to talk about it, like your opinion of I guess it's Wool, right?
Well, just the whole Silo series.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it is part of a series.
Yep.
I think I'm going to wait though until I finish the whole thing so I can talk about it as a whole.
Okay, sounds good. And
Yeah.
where can people find you online?
You can find me at Tech Enthusiast. So it's TECH, capital ENTHUSIAST at dragonscave.space. Master people.
All right. And Taylor, what is your pick for this time and where can people find you online?
All right. So my pick is I just got the MacBook Air and I love it.
Yay.
Everybody's in the podcast saying yay, yay. So yeah, I like it. Really, I use it for a lot of different things. Of course, unfortunately, accounting software needs to be able to get run on the Mac because it just doesn't. So just come on, guys, get your act together. But I like it for everything else, creative stuff especially. So you can find me online in a ton of places. I have Mastodon, so Tayarnt, TAYARNDT at Techopolis, TECHOPOLIS .social. You can also find me on Twitter if you're still there at TAYARNDT, and I'm on YouTube at Taylor Arndt. So those are all the main places you can find me. But if you really search my name, you can find me pretty much anywhere. So.
Yeah, that's really the cool thing about Mastodon is it actually does show up in Google search now. Like even my techopolis.social account shows up on Google if you search for my name, which is really neat. You would think that Mastodon, Google would not crawl that as well, but it does. So interesting stuff. As for my pick is a video game that I just paid an astonishingly large amount of money for. Diablo 4. And
nice.
It is made by Blizzard Entertainment. And what's interesting is for low vision users like myself, they have put a screen reader in the game. Now, that may make you think that it's completely accessible, and I really wish it was, but it does not read all parts of the screen, and it does not tell you where to go in the game. But for a low vision user, if I point at an enemy, it tells me what enemy I'm looking at. And so that really helps. If I'm going through my inventory with my controller, it tells me what I'm on, reads the information. They have a bug where it lets you speed up the speech of the screen reader, but unfortunately, it also speeds up the pitch. So they didn't think that through very well. But the fact that they put that in there was really beneficial for me. They've never had that in any of the other games. So, and this is the fourth in the series. Yeah, exactly. So I'm really happy about that. Games that add more accessibility features, even if they are working on getting the rest of the way there, is great. So, very good story, very good. There's actually books in the Diablo video game series that you can read as well. One thing that people forget about is there are loads of, video games have some of the best stories. Like TV shows are great, video games are just as good as far as storytelling. And, you can watch Let's Plays of video games or watch the cutscenes on YouTube. And then you could also read the books. Like the Halo series, you're playing from cutscene to cutscene. That's really what you're doing. You're playing just to hear the story, unless you're doing multiplayer, and I'm not too into that. But the book series for Halo is very extensive. It's very long. And it goes, there's parts of the games that pick up from the books, and it's like, well, what happened there? Oh, you need to read the book. So I really like that there is that back and forth between games and books. So, yeah. All of that to say, check out Diablo 4. Books are great. All that stuff. So, as for where people can find me online, I'm Mike Doise on Twitter. Mike Doise at techopolis.social. That's MikeDoise. You can email me at mikedoise@icloud.com. And you can find me anywhere on the web. Just search for Michael Doise. You can find me. And, this has been a great episode. So, I'm glad all of you guys joined me today.
It was fun.
Thanks for having us.
Good to be here.
Yeah, and we will be back on Monday for an iACast Plus exclusive. If you subscribe to that feed, you'll be able to listen to that coverage of the event where we all join a room and talk about the event, and then we'll do first impressions at the end of the keynote, and then on Saturday after WWDC wraps up, when we get all of the details, because we'll get details on all of this stuff throughout the week. Apple does sessions all week, and they only release certain sessions each day. So after all of that's done, we'll come back together and do a wrap-up show for WWDC and talk about everything that we've learned. So there's going to be a lot of great content from us.
It's going to be an iACast-a-thon.
Yes. So
yeah, we're all holding our breath.
Yes.
Waiting for the big moment to arrive, and I hope we're not going to be disappointed. You ever notice, like, every Apple event, you see these journalists or people on Twitter or people, and it's like, oh, well, that's totally boring, you know? So, but I don't think it's going to be that way this time. I think there's just going to be a lot of cool stuff.
You know, I really have never been that disappointed from an Apple event, but I think it's because I'm an Apple fanboy.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So, yeah. All right, that's going
Apple
to do it.
Apple Christmas.
Yes, Apple
and then we
Christmas.
also get to start the.
So thanks everybody for being here, and we will have loads of content coming this summer. We'll talk about the betas, all of those things. So I want to thank you all for joining, and we'll see you all next time.
Take care, guys.
Thanks for watching.
Bye, everyone.
And listening.
Yes. Consuming. Thanks for consuming.
That just sounds awkward. Thanks for consuming me. I mean, my content. I mean,
Thanks for, yeah.
Yeah.